Hello everyone, how are we doing? I am Chris and I'm joined with Mark making his return to the channel after our Creed 3 review, I want to say, wasn't it? Was that back in March?
Been a while.
It has been a while, but I had to get you on for this thing. So the other night I went live for it was a crazy long video. It was like 3.5 hours. I was talking about all 9 of the other Saw films. I sat down and I thought I'm going to talk about these for an hour and like no one's going to watch, and I ended up talking for 3.5 hours. But I mentioned some of our like past history with Saw, and we'll go into that again in a little bit. But I was like, I really hope you can make it for Saw 10, because I didn't know if we were going to get to see this tonight, because I mentioned it to you, I think, earlier in the week, and you were like, oh, I don't know if I can get a vehicle to get over there tonight because you live a little bit away from me. But we made it work. We made it work. We never went to see Spiral together, though.
No, we didn't.
But
we saw Jigsaw.
Yeah, but
and we reviewed that.
Spiral was like a fucking spin-off, so we don't count that as a Saw film anyway. But I guess numerically they do, because this is Saw 10, so I guess we have to count that as Saw 9. Yeah, right. I mentioned it in the last video, but people might not have tuned into that. Let's go into our history of Saw then. So can you remember when you first saw the original film? Do you remember like your first experience with Saw 1?
I don't remember that far back. I just remember the days of MSN.
Yes, yeah. So I did mention this in the video about I think it was Saw 5. I'm pretty sure it was. We must have been on some kind of dodgy website at the time. I don't even know what website it was. I didn't even remember websites like that existing to watch like pirate copies and whatnot.
You used to send me the legally obtained
copies. I obtained them from someone else. I didn't go out of my way to find those at all.
You just forwarded them on.
Yeah. But I think it was Saw 5. I had it as like a MOV file, and I thought I tried to send it over to you so we could sync up and watch it together, and it failed on like the 0.1% at the end, and it failed, and that was going all night, wasn't it? That was like 12 hours or something that was taken to send. Back in the day, must have been dial-up, maybe. I'm not sure.
Maybe just start broadband, not 1 megabyte days.
And it was the fucking start of broadband as well. That shit was slow. I mean, it'd be slow now, but Christ Almighty, back then. And I keep forgetting how long ago it was that we started watching these, because
and it was a terrible copy as well, wasn't it?
Oh god, yeah.
240p.
Why did we even bother watching that? Because we were fans, right? We were desperate. We wanted to watch it, and obviously we weren't old enough at the time to go and see him at the cinema. And
we used to make plans, didn't we, to try and look older. And...
Yeah, it was. You know the scene from the original Home Alone when the robbers are about to come to the house, and he has like this whole blueprint that he's like drawn in crayon. That was like us trying to plan to get in the cinema,
and then we bottled it.
yeah. I mean, I was a goody two shoes at school. I wouldn't have I wouldn't have had the nerve to do it, but
now you would.
Yeah, now we fucking would. It'd be really easy to do it now, and they wouldn't give a shit anyway. But we had a new Saw film, and this was a big deal, this one, because Tobin Bell was back. I mean, he was in Jigsaw, granted, but I'm like, after seeing this film, I'm like, they should have just, like, he's not getting any younger. Like, hopefully he will live, even now, a long and prosperous life. Dude is 81 years old, but I'm thinking, you've kind of wasted a bit of time with Jigsaw, even though he was in that a little bit, and then you didn't do anything with him in Spiral, and that was in 2021. Like, we should have crammed out a few more movies of these things with Tobin Bell. But it was a big deal. Shawnee Smith coming back in this as well, and possibly someone else. We won't go into just yet. You may have heard them in the trailer, so we'll kind of go spoiler free as possible at first, but then we will have to get into like the nitty gritty of things. Yeah. So where was your hype level at? Because you still haven't seen Spiral, have you? I think that's the only one you haven't seen.
Yeah,
I think
Spiral's the only one. We saw Jigsaw together.
Yeah.
That was a while back, wasn't it?
That was a while back. It was 2017.
And I think that was the last review I'd interviewed before Creed.
Oh my god. No, yeah, shit, yeah, it probably was actually, yeah. We need to get to the cinema more. Yeah. We need to watch more movies together.
Well, not this year.
No. Yeah, for good films this year, it's been pretty slim pickings, but when I knew there was a Saw film coming out, I'm always hyped for it. And to be fair, like, the last Saw, not counting this one, the last Saw film that I truly enjoyed was Saw 6. I hated Saw the Final Chapter, and I mentioned this in my previous review. I hate that movie. I try and delete it from my head canon. I really hate it. Jigsaw, wasn't really a good movie. But again, I enjoy going to see all of these. Spiral I didn't really enjoy, but I enjoy the experience of a Saw movie, so I was really wanting this one to be good. And early reviews were coming out saying it's the best one of the series. Really high audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I know I don't always hold all of my reviews to Rotten Tomatoes, but people were liking this movie. Kevin Groider as well, the director who was the editor on all the Saw films. Then he directed Saw 6, which was one of the best. And then he directed Saw 7, which is one of the worst. So I was like, hey, this is either going to be good or bad, right? But I want to hear from you first. What are your initial opinions on this movie? Based on your hype level, did it meet your expectations?
It just didn't... Well, it did, a little bit. It just didn't feel like a Saw movie. Yeah, that vibe you get from a Saw movie. It felt like a film. Even though it is, it just felt like a normal film.
Felt like a film. No, I know what you mean, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. The whole vibe, it feels quite grandiose. I think this is the longest Saw movie as well. But literally from the opening titles, not counting the Lionsgate logo and Twisted Pictures, which was great to see. That was really nostalgic to see that, just from the opening logos. But the opening font came up, and usually with Saw, you'll get like a weird kind of creepy ambient sound, and it'll be the text will be kind of wavy, like it's in water or something. I think all the Saw films have opened like that, but this was just bold text, not in a particular font, just bog standard. And by the end of the film, I think I kind of got what they were trying to do. This felt like, did you ever see Logan with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? So that movie was made as a kind of, this is the last time ever that Hugh Jackman's going to play the character. Of course it isn't, because he's in Deadpool 3. But they didn't know this at the time. They made it, and it was like this kind of, he's done all of these films, and we're going to make it this film Logan, and it's just the name Logan in this big bold lettering, and it kind of felt like they were doing that. It's like, we've got Tobin Bell back, potentially for one last gig. I don't know if they're going to try and get more of these Saw movies out with him.
They've teased a little bit.
Maybe there's room for where they could potentially come back. I suppose they're going to see how much money this one makes, and then if they can rush another one into development quickly, but they've got to do it quick. And they're getting Shawnee Smith back. It felt like this is his swan song kind of thing. This one really focuses on Jigsaw like quite a lot. I'd probably say this is one of Tobin Bell's strongest performances out of the whole series. But it felt like they were really trying to go for a sense of like pathos with the character, and like really tug at the heartstrings, and even try and inject like a little bit of heart into a Saw film. And I think that's probably where you're coming at it from, and I agree that it feels like an actual movie rather than
more of a cinematic
Saw
experience.
Yes, yeah. Even like the way it's filmed, the editing didn't feel as when someone's like in a trap and the camera's like spinning around them 360 degrees like fucking crazy and the editing's going all nuts. It didn't even feel like that. It felt really kind of stripped back. Even like the cinematography and the way it was shot, it felt like a complete change of pace for the Saw films. I actually think that was a good thing. I really like from the opening bit where we really focus on John Kramer, and I think my favourite part of this film was all the stuff that wasn't like a Saw film. I really enjoyed like the first act of this, where it was quite laid back. It was quite a slow burn. He was trying to find treatment, and he was traveling to Mexico. I really liked that part of it. He was going to like cancer groups kind of thing, support groups. I really enjoyed that stuff. And then when it got to the traps, and they're so, again, in typical Saw fashion, they're completely ridiculous and over the top. It didn't lose me because it's still entertaining, and I know you need that in a Saw film, but that's when I started asking questions like, how did he get that up there? How did he make all of this stuff? Why is Billy the puppet here? He's in Mexico. Like, how did he have time to set all of this shit up?
How did he know how to get him to stop?
Yeah, and
at the exact point where she would be.
Yeah, and especially when we get to the twist, which I'm not going to give away at the moment, but the twist kind of let me down a little bit as well, because it didn't feel like a twist. Because to me, like, a good film twist is something that's established in the film beforehand, and then it'll change your way of looking at something that makes you go, oh, so that adds up from earlier, that led to this, whereas this part just felt like we were given brand new information that we hadn't even seen before.
Some twists also set up the next film, doesn't it? And this one didn't feel like it will.
Yeah.
It's like when Costas Mandalore goes into the...
Oh, but they know he's in it, yeah. Oh.
In Saw 5.
Yeah.
5 or 6 when he gets...
5.
The glass spots.
Yeah, that's the end of 5 when he goes into the floor. Yeah.
And then that obviously sets up 6, isn't it? So...
Yeah. They were quite episodic though, were they? Where, I mean, this one, I guess for anyone who doesn't know, this one takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2, which... Okay, but it was really distracting, like, the ages in this. I couldn't...
Shawnee Smith.
Shawnee Smith is like... I'm going to check how old she is now, actually. She's 54. She's 54, which... Yeah, so she would have been, like, what, early 30s then when she was in Saw...
Was it
2005, wasn't it? I think
5,
Saw 2. Oh yeah, in the first one, yeah, it would have been 2004. So yeah, she'd have been around 30, early 30s or something like that. She looks like she's in her 50s.
Yeah, she's a lot of work done.
She's had, you can like the cheek fillers or whatever, and they give her that like
Spock vibe.
Yeah, you say she looked like Spock, and then the whole rest of the movie I couldn't unsee it. But they try and do that like punk rock hairdo that she's got going on in 2.
More like a bowl cut.
Yeah, and even and Amanda a little bit in Saw 2 has, I won't say feels quite childlike, but she seems young, doesn't she? She's whereas and a little bit of a performance in this was like she was trying to act younger. Did you get that a little bit? How she was saying things, she felt a bit childlike in some of the way she was acting.
Between 1 and 2, and she was less mature in Saw 2, but this one she seemed more mature, but trying to act immature.
She felt. I tell you what, she felt like, how, so like you said, Amanda in Saw 2 is quite immature, and then you get to Saw 3, and she's like, between Saw 2 and 3, some shit has happened to her character. She has
switched.
Yeah. She felt like she was playing Amanda from Saw 3 more than the Amanda from Saw 2.
Yeah, when she should have been younger, more inexperienced, more immature. But...
Yeah, because she's like that, and then in 3 she's like a complete fucking psychopath. Whereas in this she felt like she was... There's moments where she kind of cracks a little bit, and she needs that guidance from Jigsaw, and he says, this is necessary, and she's having doubts, and... There's one person in the game who she empathizes with her because she's a drug addict, obviously, like Amanda was. So there's little bits like that, but for the most part, she's just like psychopath mode, like she was in Saw 3. And Tobin Bell looks really old. Really.
He's going strong, though.
Really old. No, he's great. No, he really is. And it does goes to show how good Tobin Bell is, that he is the life and soul of this entire franchise. When the sequels went on, or when you get to Spiral and he's not in there, you really feel his absence, and it's a huge aspect of the franchise and the films that have been taken away. So it's great to see him in this, and not only that, but front and center. He is the main character in this. He's not hiding in the shadows. We don't just get like a few scenes with him. He is throughout the movie, and it's great, and he still brings it. It's just, if you're looking at this as a chronological thing, and you go from Saw 1 to this to then Saw 2, it's wildly distracting. And actually, I don't think anyone should do that anyway, because there's a mid-credit scene during this film that would completely ruin the twist ending of Saw 4. That's all I'm going to say. So, so watch them in sequence, don't watch them in actual chronological order. So the plot for this one, it feels quite personal. Jigsaw gets told about a sort of like a miracle cutting edge cancer cure of this medical treatment that's going down in the middle of nowhere in Mexico, which sounds like a great place to be. So he travels there and then quickly finds out that it's a scam, and then exacts his revenge on all of them.
I mean, when he gets hijacked and loaded into the back of a van,
that was so random.
That should have been a red flag.
Yeah, and he mentions it once. He goes like, "Oh, quite the welcome wagon." I'm like, "There's a welcome wagon, and then there's that." Like, I'd have just got in a car and just driven off and been like, "I don't care." And I think this is on the poster. Let me just check. Oh god, that's really small. Let me. What's the tagline for this poster?
That's what she said, moment.
There's another poster that says his most personal game yet. I think it says on the poster. Now, one of the problems that I had was that he says that this isn't revenge, this is retribution or whatever he says, which I'm like, okay, well, you're just splitting hairs there because this is basically revenge. In Saw 5, he says, like, it can never be personal. You've got to sort of, like, take yourself out of the situation emotionally, completely unbiased to anyone. You can't just go after someone because it's revenge. I think he says it about Hoffman when Hoffman stages the pendulum trap to look like a jigsaw trap.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to kill the murderer of his sister. And then Jigsaw kind of says, like, look, you went out after him after personal revenge. You can't do that. You've got to completely just look at it objectively. But that's not what Jigsaw does in this at all. Yeah. It's totally the opposite.
I mean, yeah, he gives him, 3 minutes in the trap?
Okay, yeah, so it's a Saw film. You know you're going to watch people die. You know you're going to watch a lot of people die. In fact, everyone who's in a trap will probably die. That's how the Saw films have gone. And I want to talk about the first trap, the one that's on the poster. So we might be getting into spoiler territory here a little bit, but it's just kind of what you see in the trailers anyway. So the first trap that we see, the first proper trap, is the eye vacuum trap. Now, this was in the poster. It forms the X. They released a clip of this thing. And everyone was out of their mind about this thing because visually, yeah, like these tubes on the eyeballs, the way it's lit, it's kind of a cool looking trap. Dude's got to break his fingers, each one of his fingers, otherwise the tubes will suck out his eyeballs, basically.
And he gets through 4?
Yeah, and then, as you can imagine, I thought they were going to make a bigger deal out of this trap. This trap felt so throwaway at the beginning of the film. I thought this was going to be, you know how Saw 6, the big one, is the carousel trap.
Yeah.
Each film's kind of got like its big centerpiece trap. I thought this one was going to be this film's, and honestly, you could kind of edit it out of the movie. And in a weird way, I don't know if you got this as well, I don't even know if that trap happened or not. If it was in his mind,
it was
or
all just a dream.
Yeah, I don't know. The way it's edited is so weird.
Because he catches him pickpocketing the patient, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's like, is he like an orderly or something, or like a male nurse or something? I can't remember what he is, but yeah, there's like a really really ill patient who's completely like comatose out of it, and he's rifling through their personal belongings like watches and jewelry and things like that, and Jigsaw clocks him, and then it just cuts to him in a trap, and I thought, oh, okay, he's gone and kidnapped him and chucked him in a trap,
and then it cuts straight back.
But yeah, then it cuts back,
and
but
you get the good line, good choice.
Yeah, he puts he sees Jigsaw looking at him, and he goes, okay, no, I won't take it, and he puts the watch back in the drawer and leaves, and yeah, and he says good choice. So was that trap's playing in Jigsaw's mind, or did it actually happen still? I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird editing choice, but it wouldn't be the first Saw trap that happens in a dream sequence.
No.
Do you remember
Jill's the train,
the go-kart trap in Saw 7?
I mean, the only good thing about that is what she's wearing.
Yes. Oh god, that film's bad. That film's so bad. I will say this film's a lot better than Saw 3D. We'll try and I did a ranking of the previous 9. I'll try and see where I'd rank this one. It's very difficult because I'm literally fresh out of it.
What was your rankings?
Oh god, I gotta try and remember now. Bottom of the stack was Spiral.
Yeah.
Oh god, I actually can't remember
Jigsaw,
now. Then I think I had Jigsaw.
Saw 7.
Then Saw 7. Then 5. Where did I go after that? Then I think I went 4. Then 3, 2, 6, 1. I think that's what I did. I think that's what it was. I'm going to go back to my previous video now. It'd be totally different. But this one at the moment, if I'm going to throw it in the stack, oh god.
I'd say between...
Oh, is it better? It's probably better than 4.
Better than 4, but yeah,
not as good as the original trilogy or 6. So yeah, it'd be after 4, before 2.
before 3.
Yes, before 3. Yeah.
Between Saw 3 and 4.
Yeah. That's where I put it right now. But visually, I really do like what they were trying to do with this thing. Where this film kind of fell apart for me a little bit, because I was with it, like the whole revenge thing. They staged this whole very elaborate theatrical kind of setup to fleece people's money. Bearing in mind, there's a guy at the beginning who is at the cancer support group who mentions this place to John, by the way. So just bear that in mind for later, because I will be coming back to that for a mid-credit scene. And then he realizes he's been had, and then pretty much a handful of scenes later, Jigsaw's got the place where they were doing the mock surgery. He's got it all kitted out, suited and booted. He's got CCTV cameras in there. He's got multicam setup. He's built
a whole control system.
Yeah, he's got a trap for her, and he's got a trap for her, and he's got a trap for him, and these traps are fucking big. Like, considering this is
what, about 20,000 litres of blood.
Yeah, we're going to go through all of these traps and how they're mostly all bullshit. it's ridiculous. But again, if you're going to look at it chronologically, Saw 1, and this is kind of like, because they had no budget anyway, but very humble beginnings. The traps felt very... You could probably throw those together. Yeah, there's a lot of planning with the bathroom trap and stuff like that, but... Right, I'm going to get a room and I'm just going to drape razor wire everywhere and chuck someone in. Boom, there you go. There's a safe with a combination around the room, and I've covered him in flammable gel. Boom, there you go. This film happens right after that, and the crazy things that he's constructed in this, it's... Well, I guess then you've got flashback stuff as well in some of the other Saw films, which would technically be his first trap, but...
Yeah.
So what I found really unfair with this film, and I don't even know if I've only just started becoming aware of it with this film, because this has probably happened in a bunch of the other Saw films as well. It really annoys me when someone's actually doing what they need to pass the game, but they just don't have enough time to do it.
Well, it's because they don't really start till like there's a minute left. They think, "Oh shit, I've got to do something now."
I guess the only way to beat it is that, like, let the game begin. Boom, right, pass the tourniquet, right, done, and you get straight to it. So the first one is the Is she
Valentina, isn't it?
Is she the anesthesiologist? I can't remember. Is that the guy?
She takes the blood.
That's it. And basically what she's got to do is she's got to saw her own leg off with this...
was it 3 pounds of marrow from a femur?
It's like, the human body only requires 5 pounds of marrow, and like you have to deposit 3 or something like that. So not only... I completely forgot about that part. I thought she just had to cut a leg off and that was it. Like, if she cut a leg off, the trap would deactivate. But no, that's the first bit. Then she's got to stick a tube in like her... In her bone hole. That's in her bone hole. And then she's got to suck the marrow out, and it's got to... Yeah.
Which is ironic, because she sucked a lot of things before she went in there, because she was a prostitute.
Oh, she was. Yeah, that's true. Of course she was. Yeah. And she does the thing. She cuts it. She's going to town on this fucking leg. She's like sawing this thing off.
Pulls the last bit.
Oh, that last little bit that was hanging on. It was like that. We forgot a trap. We will come back to the trap before this as well. I forgot about that with the guy with the Edward Scissorhands thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, she cuts her leg off. She sticks the suction tube in the thing, and it starts filling up the marrow. And she's doing it, and it's like seconds away. Like one more second, and she would have had it. But she just runs out of time because he gave her 3 fucking minutes to cut her own leg off.
But it's actually the same time as brushing your teeth.
Yeah, and it was just really unfair because he was like, "Oh, she didn't appreciate her life. You know, she failed her test." I'm like, but she was doing the thing. It was your fault for not giving her enough time. If you gave her, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes and she didn't do it, then fair enough. But
she loses a leg, she loses a head, and then she gets sliced open to use her intestines as a rope.
That bit. I was pissing myself laughing at that bit. I was looking around the cinema and no one else was laughing. I thought, everyone's taking this so seriously.
It's just us psychos right in the middle having a giggle.
Yeah, so after she gets decapitated, right? And then, the rest of them are there, and there's like a table in the middle with a phone, and she's like, right, we need to try and get the table. Now, in the original Saw film, I think, doesn't like... Adam or Dr. Gordon take his jacket off and try and like
Yeah,
lassos it
shirt,
around the. That's it, and he like attaches the plug hole to it, like the plug, doesn't he? The rubber plug, and gets it. In this one, it's like no, we need a rope, and he's like, we don't have any rope. So without missing a beat, the ringleader of the group, she goes over to the lady who just got decapitated, cuts her open, pulls her intestines out, and just like passes it and says, here, you grab a corner, here you go, there's some more small intestine for you. And she fucking uses the intestines to wrap around the table. I mean, I'd have just let her live, because that's genius.
Yeah.
I'd defy anyone to think of that in that situation. And then Amanda comes in because she realizes, they're trying to escape. And she's just like, it's like she just picks up, like she's picking up clothes or something, just picks up this intestine, rolls it around her arm, like she's rolling up like a hose pipe or something. Oh god, that was insane. Okay, so the trap before this, there was a dude who was like, he was like the guy who led them to the place, wasn't he? I guess who always ferried them there.
Yeah, the taxi driver.
Yeah. He's in a trap. This is before that decapitation one, and he's got blades, like scalpels, duct taped to his hands.
And 2 pipe bombs of galvanized steel through his muscle.
Yeah, they're like wired into his arm, and he's got to cut them out.
The muscle, yeah.
Now I was watching him do this thing, and the amount of blood that's coming out of his arms, and he's like probably like cutting past major arteries and shit like that. And he's just lying in a pool of blood. He does it. Like, people actually, I will say, some people do actually survive some of the traps in this film, which is, I guess, is nice.
And then Jigsaw just then genuinely save him after.
Well, he's just like, oh, you'll live. Like, oh, you need a doctor.
With his basic first aid kit.
Yeah. Yeah. Put a plaster on it. It'll be fine.
Put wet paper towel.
Oh, that's a bit of a nasty nick. But yeah, apparently he's meant to be fine. It's just like, I don't think
you never find out what happens with him, though, do you?
Well, I guess we just have to take his word for it that he survived if you're going with the whole Jigsaw thing about the games. But
I guess we could find out in future films.
I felt like they'd cut a bit out of the film, and I guess the reason that they cut the bit out was to make the twist try and make a bit more sense towards the end. But it's mentioned that Jigsaw at some point interrogated him for information, but you just don't see that. He's like, look, I told you everything I know. I'm like, we haven't seen that. Like, he's just woke up here and he's got like blade hands. So it felt like they removed a bit from the film there. I don't know if they have. Maybe we'll get like an extended edition or something like that. They've done unrated editions before. That's mostly with the gore, isn't it? There's not really been much added in terms of extra scenes or anything like that.
Talking of the gore, it was rated before. I saw it this morning. It was rated worse than the Terrifier, apparently, for the amount of gore. And at some places they were giving sick bags for people because there was that much gore.
Well, someone did collapse in our cinema screening.
I don't know if he collapsed or just fell over.
I think he was on something.
Oh, he was on something. Flat on his face.
So he got it. Was right after the first trap, I think, was it? Or like the goriest trap when she was like cutting a leg off, and I thought, oh, is it like Will from The Inbetweeners, where he goes to see a Saw film, doesn't he? Actually, at the cinema, with like the really tall girl, and he can't handle blood, and he passes out in the cinema. And I thought, oh, maybe that's the case. But someone got up and like went to his aid, and then he just got up and sat in that guy's seat.
Yeah.
And his missus was like, you've just taken his seat. And then he got up and like fucked off, and I didn't see him come back in after that.
Yeah, he did. He come back in and went to the front.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, blue coat guy.
So,
called him.
I don't know what happened.
Essentially Paddington Bear, but on drugs.
He's fucking off to Peru or something to get a marmalade sandwich.
Forgot his red hat.
Yeah. Oh, what are the so right after that one? It's the then it's the anesthesios. Yeah, this
or that.
Go on, you explain this trap, because this was the most ridiculous trap in the whole fucking movie for me.
Yeah, he gets put in a chair, doesn't he? And then he has to cut. What is it? 0.3 grams of brain matter.
Does he say how much? He does say how much he needs. Yeah.
In order to get the key, and these 3 minutes. Once again,
3 minutes.
Takes about a minute and a half to think about it, and then starts jamming this saw into his head to cut his scalpel off.
Yeah.
He pulls off a Pringle-sized bit of skull, just drops that on the floor like that matters, and then starts pulling a bit of his brain out like it's a.
But this basically shows that anyone.
Tear and share.
Yeah, this basically shows that anyone could be a brain surgeon, because there's no delicate, intricate handwork that's involved with brain surgery. You could just get like this fucking saw and just, without even looking at your head or anything, just,
saw 3,
just drill it around your head.
You see it with Jigsaw, don't they? She cuts it out very carefully. He's just jamming it in.
She does like the Trefnin, does it? Yeah,
and then she cuts through that fine membrane. Yeah, nice and neat. He's just jamming it in.
So here's the thing: were any of them qualified surgeons in the first place, or were they all just frauds and they were just trying to pretend? Frauds,
but I think the main one, I think she had some kind of medical knowledge because she kind of knew what she was talking about.
She talks about her dad, and I guess we too believe her dad actually was like a proper surgeon.
Yeah, I think he was genuinely legit, and she took it on herself to, I can make money with her.
Yeah, but he's got like this fucking saw, and he's just like blindly just going to town on his head.
Me, so he perfectly got the tweezers in the gap he'd just cut.
Yeah.
Without he's not got a mirror or anything, has he? He's just got that camera above his head, and he's just perfectly got it in.
Yeah.
Just to pull it out ever so gently.
And then Jigsaw says something like, "People have survived with only 50% of their brains, so you can."
Your brains have been removed and then rewired.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Oh, so you can like totally put a lot of your brain in there," and it's. Yeah, he's literally just scooping out masses of brain and chucking it in this thing.
Like it's ice cream.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not how it works. That you give yourself a fucking lobotomy doing that. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't.
Jack Nicholson in One Flew of the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, you can't just blindly go into your brain and go, that bit, throw it in the thing. But he does it. He fucking does it. But then he doesn't have enough time. But he did the thing, and that's what really annoys me.
And it was that random thing that's like. It's like the Mayan mask, and it kind of just like closes on his face like the bear trap.
Yeah, where did he get that from?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Where did he get that
and then
from?
what's it do? Does it electrocute him? Does it like heat him up? What does it do to him inside?
They looked like radiators, didn't they?
Yeah.
It did look like a radiator of some kind. And he mentioned like hell, didn't? Oh no, that was the other guy with the blade hands, wasn't it? Yeah. That he said like, oh, we're going to hell. But how did he build all of this shit? Because he's in Mexico, okay? So, like, maybe you could make an argument when he's back on the mainland, like, oh, he's got his factories, he's got his abandoned houses, he's got all of his equipment and tools that he uses in all, like, the factories and stuff that he's got.
I pay good money to watch MacGyver and Tobin Bell in the same film.
Yeah, but they don't show any of that, because you've got an 81-year-old Tobin Bell who can, like, barely stand.
Turns a derelict chemical factory into some sort of playground.
Yeah, and there's this like abandoned surgery place that was done in like a fucking warehouse somewhere,
and he does it all within a very quick amount of time, doesn't it?
It would have to be. It'd have to be. Yeah, like we're talking
days.
It felt like a day. It felt like the next day. Yeah, so it's. I mean, the Saw films have had massive leaps in logic with that. I mean, if you look at spoiler alert for the end of Saw 3, I guess. Jigsaw dies, Amanda dies. Saw 4, I guess you kind of give a free pass to because it happens at the same time as 3, but even then you've got to go, so he orchestrated all the traps for 3 and all of the traps from 4 all at the same time.
Whilst being pretty much bedbound.
Because he got beaten to shit by Donnie Wahlberg in Saw 2, and then, it was on his deathbed. But then you're like, oh, okay, maybe Amanda and Hoffman sorted everything out, okay. But then guess what? Amanda's dead. But then also in Saw 5, he's got all of those other traps set up for the other 5. And then you think, well, okay, are they Hoffman traps? And you're like, well, no, they would have been Jigsaw traps as well.
Well, it's essentially training the one from Jigsaw.
Yeah, and then also throughout the course of Saw 5, you've got those traps going on. But then you've got all the fucking people from Saw 6, the healthcare people. So they're Jigsaw people.
And this actually must all be in a space of 3 months because he was only given 3 months to live.
Yeah.
So he was very busy in those 3 months.
Yep. And then on top of that, Saw 3D, whilst Hoffman's, trying to evade the police and also, killing Strom and everything like that, he also had to kidnap and set up everyone in Saw 3D. The Bobby Dagan or whatever his name is, the guy who pretended to survive a Jigsaw trap and wrote an autobiography and whatnot, and he gets all the people from there. It's already fucked. it's already so fucked, so I shouldn't even be hung up about this. I'm not even really, but if I'm just talking about the film, there is no way. I don't know how he set up all this stuff. Because later on, he's using all of the stuff that was in that medical room, like the big fucking radiation cancer machine thing. And this thing's like hauled up on the ceiling by a chain, and it's like angled, and he hits like a joystick. It's like a crane machine, and he can move it wherever he wants. I'm like, how have you set this up?
It was so unrealistic, but probably the most believable trap that he could.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it would have took more effort to do that than to do the actual trap.
Because they mentioned this in Saw 3D. When they've got Kerry, Detective Kerry, in the angel trap after she's dead, Strom's there and Hoffman's there as well, and he says like, "Who got her up there?" And then Hoffman's going, "Oh well, Amanda was his accomplice," and he goes, "No, she's like,
she can't lift.
She's like nothing." He says, and he's like, "Well, John Kramer was an engineer. He could have made some pulleys or winches," and he says, "No, he's brains, not brawn," and Hoffman is the brawn, but he only had. Well, he didn't even have Amanda at this point because she was off collecting everyone.
Yeah.
So, old ass Jigsaw hauled all this shit. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Which takes us on to Amanda, I guess. I guess he's got her on speed dial and she drove over to Mexico.
Yeah. Like a drug addict's got a passport. She hasn't sold already for drugs.
I mean, I hope they had. Did he get all their proper names, though? How did she get all the information to go after them?
Because he calls the detective, doesn't he? That gets him the information.
Well, no, I thought... So he makes a call and he says, like, "Hi, detective, I need you to, like, get someone for me." Does he say get, like, the information on... I thought it was to get the guy who's in the mid-credit scene. I thought that was setting that up.
Isn't... Yeah, actually it might be. Because I think he gets most of his information from that taxi driver, doesn't he?
Because Amanda talks about, "Oh, I found information on this, I found the money, I found
all
that's
the
how
accounts," doesn't it? Because the taxi driver is actually the doctor who performs the surgery. So that's how, he interrogates him to get it.
But doesn't the anesthesiologist go by, like, a different name? He has different names. So how did he say to him, like, "Amanda, I need your help," and she says, "Cool, where are you?" And he's like, "I'm in Mexico," and she's like, "It's a hell of a drive or like a plane ride, but I'll head over there." And then she gets there and he's like, "I need you to help find someone." He's like, "Okay, who do you need finding?" He goes, "Oh well, I don't know their names. They use different names.
I don't know where anything is in Mexico."
Mexico's a big fucking place. Like, how are you meant to find all these people
in a different language as well?
Yeah. I'm just imagining just imagining Amanda on a plane ride, checking her bags in, like, anything to declare, pig mask, boxing robe, fucking syringes filled with chloroform. They don't inject people with chloroform, do they? But you know what I mean.
And if she doesn't, how does she get that from in Mexico?
It's all fucked. It's nothing about this film makes any sense. It really doesn't.
Do you know what doesn't make sense that I forgot to mention?
Go on.
You know the bit where she cattle prods him? It's just how he falls. It's such a nice like,
Oh, who's next? Okay, yeah. So, it's the drug addict chick, isn't it?
Yeah, the one he likes. He bought That's how we find it out, didn't he?
Well, Billy the Puppet shows up, and again, I'm thinking, how is there a Billy the Puppet here? I know the reason Billy the Puppet's in the film, and that's because it's a fucking Saw movie, and you can't have a Saw movie without seeing Billy the Puppet. Like, I get it, but John's not on his home turf. Billy the Puppet isn't here. He's in fucking Mexico. He's in buttfuck nowhere, Mexico. How is Billy the Puppet here? All decked out on a tricycle.
Imagine putting him through baggage.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Check him as hand luggage.
Did he make another one? Why?
You made one. How long did it take you?
I did make... Yeah, I did mention that, actually. Yeah, we made, like, a really embarrassing film when we were at sixth form. Or college,
It was just short, wasn't it? Yeah, short trailer.
And, yeah.
Although it had a good concept.
We were going to do... So it was about a puppet that came to life, and it was like a haunted puppet, and it was, like... stalking this person,
but only the person could see it.
Yeah. And because I'm an unoriginal asshole, I was like, we could create a new puppet. We could come up with like an interesting new design for a puppet. No, I'm just like, we're Saw fans.
And just because I know he'll hate this, I have the video. He will upload it.
No, shut your whore mouth. That has never happened.
You're not in it though.
But I will say, for a handmade Billy the Puppet doll, we did a pretty fucking good job on that. It looked all right. As
we
puppets
didn't think
go.
far ahead with the suit, did we? It was a bit oversized for him, and his hands was made of cardboard.
Look, all the budget went on the Billy the Puppet head. Okay, as long as we had that working.
And that bit where we hung him from the ceiling, he just drops.
Pitiful.
That's the best.
I forgot
ever.
I forgot to mention that in the other review. Yeah, we did. That's how much we love Saw. But yeah, Billy the Puppet's here, and I don't know how, and I don't know why, and well, I know why, but
he perfectly pedals in, doesn't he? Perfectly knows where to stop.
Do you remember that video? You want to play a game, and then the bike falls apart. You've seen that on YouTube? There's that guy.
Yeah.
So it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, and his little tripod.
Yeah, so she plays this game, and it hauls her up. She's like shackled. And she's got a shackle on her wrist, and it leaves her dangling like that. And then she's got another one on her ankle, and she's got to pick up this hammer, this sledgehammer looking thing, and she's got to break her ankle, which will somehow allow it to slip out perfectly out of the shackle.
How did it know when to stop pulling the chains when it perfectly got to her?
I don't know.
I don't know. Would it have been too loose? Would it have been too tight? Would it just kept pulling and?
Jigsaw's got it all worked out. Okay,
he baffled us with how he set it up. To be fair, let alone the logistics of it.
If you're good at anticipating the human mind, it leaves nothing to chance. Well, that comes true at the very end when we get to the twist, which is so bullshit. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, one of the worst twists.
It is. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So she breaks her ankle. She breaks her wrist. But I don't. Look, I know it worked for Don.
Horribly burnt with radiation as well, isn't she?
So he's got like the giant radiation cancer machine thing, like interrogating her basically, and it's blasting radiation in her face. It's like cranked all the way up to 11, and her skin's like melting and like burning and shit. But she actually gets out of it, and she falls on the floor. She is done. She's like a twitching heap on the floor, like all burnt up and shit. And he's just like, she needs to get to a hospital and she'll be fine. I'm like, I don't think she's going to be fine.
I think she's a bit fucked, mate.
Broken ankle, shattered ankle, shattered wrist, whatever. Okay, you're going to walk that off. But she's been blasted with all of the radiation. Like, Chernobyl's worth of radiation has been blasted in this woman's face.
If she does survive, she's dying of cancer, isn't she?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. She's going to get all of the cancer in like a month's time from the amount of radiation was blasted in her face. And he's just like, we got Brinsley. Let me bring this chat box up, dude. Sorry. I always keep forgetting to bring the chat box. There we go. So we should have the chats coming up on screen now. Sup lads, sorry, just got home. No worries, man. Did you just get back from Saw 10? That is the question. If so, let us know what you thought of it. We're going into we're in spoiler territory now, so if you haven't seen it, we are spoiling the shit out of this film right now. But you've been tuned in for a little bit, I think, so I've heard good things about Saw X. Oh, you mentioned you don't care about spoilers, didn't you? Yeah, in the last video. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, she's like a twitching heap on the floor. But right, what happens now after this bit? So, we've missed a bit. So the ringleader, the Charlize Theron, the European Charlize Theron kind of character.
So it's pronounced Theron.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah. I learnt that the other day when I saw a video of her saying it.
I can't say that because I've been saying it for like 30 years now. Charlize Theron. Doesn't that sound better?
Charlize Theron.
It's like we've got Charlize Theron at home. Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
It's like
she says the heron.
Is it like Diet Coke? You're quasi evil. You're semi evil. Okay, so earlier on there was a guy who was in the operating room and he had like a patch on his throat and he pretended that he had like throat cancer or something and he'd just been saved or he just got out of surgery. That guy is also in on it, and is also the lover of like the main ringleader woman. And he shows up demanding his money back because at this point we're meant to believe that he's been conned. But if he was in on it from the beginning with her, why would he... Because he didn't know Jigsaw and Amanda were in there. He didn't know any of them had all been set up in a trap. Why wouldn't he just walk in like normal?
Yeah.
If he was with her. Why would he like do the whole thing like give me my money back kind of thing? And not only that, but go in with a gun.
Yeah.
If he knew that she was there, he didn't know Jigsaw and everything had decked all this place out, so why would he go in all suspicious like that?
I want to know how quick Shawnee Smith moved when she put that head on that.
Yeah, well...
Under the pig mask.
Well, later on, we know that they sent the call out to get him there.
Yeah. Alright, yeah. I suppose wonder if she picked it up with the intestines.
Yeah. But I don't know why he shows up at this place completely strapped. That's just really weird. So they sit him down and he's watching all these monitors of everyone dying. And then when it gets down to just her, he kind of snaps. He grabs the gun and says, right, take me down to her. You're going to unlock her out of her shackles right now. So they go down. They gain the upper hand and they basically chain Jigsaw and Amanda into their own traps. Right around this... So earlier in the film as well, Jigsaw kind of befriends this small Mexican boy, which makes him sound like a really creepy paedophile. But it's not. It's kind of like a sweet... It's like Mr. Miyagi, Daniel San kind of thing. You'll understand that reference one day when we watch Karate Kid. Because I'm going to make you watch the Karate Kid. And he like helps him fix this wheel, and they set it up. He's like, what's the word for pull? And he tells him, and that will come up later. You called that hella. No, he's like hella, like pull. No hella, no pull the thing. And anyway, so this was kind of cool to me. It was like, because we haven't seen this in Saw before. Like someone gains the upper hand and puts Jigsaw in his own trap. Yeah. I thought, oh, that's a really cool concept. I like that. And then they also put the little kid in the trap too. And Jigsaw's like, look, he's innocent. He's just a boy. Like you can't put him in there.
It's essentially a seesaw waterboard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blood board instead of water.
So it's designed for two people. So and they asked this as well. He says, wait, if she was the last one, who was that second place designed for? Well, I'm assuming it was for him, wasn't it? It was the two lovers basically. But they gain the upper hand and they put Jigsaw and the little boy in there. And yeah, so what they've got to do is one of them pulls the handle, which tips it one way. And then, so yeah, it's like a waterboarding thing, but it's a bloodboarding thing.
In answer to your question, no, he wasn't.
Was Tobin Bell wearing a baseball cap on back? Maybe that would have made him look younger. Maybe I wouldn't have looked and gone, that's an 81-year-old man trying to play a 60-year-old or whatever it was.
Yeah. Maybe if he ordered like a cool latte or something when he was at the coffee shop.
Yeah. So this thing, it's kind of like the trap from Spiral actually, which was like the hot wax trap, which waterboarded someone with hot wax, like liquid wax. But this spews out gallons and gallons of blood onto someone's face and will make you drown in blood. Like this thing is just like on tap. Where did he get this blood from? Because are we to assume that everything he put together was in that operating room?
And how did the blood at any point not congeal?
Yeah, because they never kept blood. Because he even goes up to the one who took the bloods and he says like, "What did you do with my blood? I bet you just tipped it down and drained it, didn't you?" And the look on her face is kind of like, "Yeah, we just get blood and like just fucking get rid of it, you know, just to keep up appearances." So where did like I doubt even they've got this much blood at fucking hospitals. That's why they're always asking people to donate. Where did he get like a whole jacuzzi tub full of blood to pour on someone?
On top of doing everything else.
Within 24, yeah, it's the traps really made no sense, and they didn't have to be this elaborate. I don't know how he made all of this shit. Like all of this stuff that he's made is easily like half a year's job. For one person, maybe even a fucking year. I don't know. It's insane. And where did he get? Yeah, where did he get all the materials?
Of that seesaw trap, like the whole infrastructure underneath.
Yeah,
It's like, no way.
It's stupid. Yeah.
Once again, how did the chains know when to stop?
Yeah. So he's on this with the little boy, and he's trying to protect the boy, so he's like sacrificed himself, and the little boy's like
taking
no.
the blood like a pro.
And then he like tips it his way, and all of this is going on. While this is happening, I think Amanda's just there, isn't she, watching it happen, because she's chained. Watching. Yeah, she's chained up at this point. So it cuts to the two lovers who are making their escape, and they go up to the office to grab the bag full of money, which is all the money that all these cancer patients have given to them, basically, for this bullshit treatment. And then they snatch the duffel bag off with all the money in, and then I guess that triggers the Charlie Clouser music, because then we hit with Hello Zepp music kicks in, and you're like, oh, twist time, what's it going to be? And I did actually think, because this one's set in between Saw 1 and Saw 2, how could you really have a meaningful twist? Because we know what happens in Saw 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. There's not really any surprises you can have. And because of that, the twist is really weak. So the twist is Jigsaw. You might have to correct me on this if I got this right, because it's really convoluted. Jigsaw and Amanda knew all along.
Yeah, anticipated it would happen.
Yeah, of course they do. If you're good at anticipating the human mind, it leaves nothing to chance. Which is their bullshit scapegoat thing that they say in Saw 5. He knew all along that the throat guy and the ringleader woman were lovers. And he set it up in motion where he made the call to get the guy to that building. Now, the whole thing was designed so that those two would be in a game together. But he knew that the ringleader lady would escape, gain the upper hand, go to the office to try and take the money, so he nerve gases the room.
I have got to say one thing, just because it's gonna bug it. You know it's gonna make you laugh.
Go on.
What if he shot you in the face?
What if he shot you in the face? But like, this isn't even for this Saw film. There are so many fucking variables that could happen, and am I getting that right? Because later he says like, well, this didn't quite go according to plan, but it all kind of worked out in the end. Meaning he didn't know that he was going to have to get in his own trap.
And get absolutely caked in blood.
So what? Let's say that the two lovers were in that seesaw trap, right? And Jigsaw and the little boy didn't get forced into it, so the trap was designed as it was meant to for them. One of them would die, right? That was the whole idea of it. One would have to die.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of them lives. Why the nerve gas room? And if he knew that they were going to go to...
Fail safe, I suppose.
Could be, but then that was the entire end game there, wasn't it, to get there? So, but like, yeah, what if they both died during the seesaw trap?
But then the same thing about that nerve gas room, it's like he starts kind of like burning and his skin starts changing, isn't it? But then she manages to save herself by putting her head through the gap, because only one person can fit through. Mm-hmm. That's like, is that Saw 5? When multiple people can fit in the hole, but they only choose one. That's
when the bomb's going to go off, isn't it? Yeah. And they do
probably
that.
Both could have fitted in it, to be fair.
Oh, it's just for the head though, isn't it, to go through? So yeah. I'm not sure.
But yeah, how come she didn't burn up behind him?
Yeah, so there's only like one. The room's being pumped full of gas, and there's just like one little head hole thing where you can sort of like breathe out of it.
Tiniest little stinker.
and yeah, like their skins. It looks like the woman with the radiation thing almost from earlier. Like this.
His eyes start going white. And...
Yeah. So that they're fighting over. They're trying to fight to the death basically, so that one of them can survive.
What twist?
What a twist! And then so she wins. She stabs the guy, and then she sticks her head out, and it's like, oh, she's fine. But I'm like, your whole rest of your body that isn't your neck and head is still getting burnt by a fucking deadly nerve gas right now. Yeah, you're not breathing it in, but it didn't look like it was reacting with oxygen that you were breathing. It just looked like if it was in contact with your skin, it was going to fucking burn you. So I've got something in my eye. It's like killing me.
Your finger.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, good answer.
So she wins, and then what's so great is the film tries to have like a bit of heart to it at the end, and end on like a kind of ending. Because earlier Jigsaw's like, I want to live to see the sunrise, and then this ringleader woman, who at this point we think is like a nice, altruistic nurse. And she's like, you will see the sunrise, John. You will. For the rest of your life, you'll see the sunrise. And then at the end of the movie, Jigsaw, Amanda, and small Mexican child leave hand in hand like they're off to see the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. The doors swing open in slow motion.
It's like some sort of really shit generational family, isn't it?
Yeah.
And dad, daughter, son.
So, yeah, boy.
But it's like old ass fuck. Smackhead Mexican kid.
Yeah. And they leave, the doors open in slow motion, and waves of rich sunlight come pouring through in this beatific sunrise, and they all walk out together, and then
same title but different colour.
Yeah, Saw X in big red letters or whatever it is.
Literally fading. It was like a shit
Fades
PowerPoint.
You needed like when someone does like a flashback or a dream, it goes like boom, like a harp. You needed that kind of noise, like Saw 10. And then you just fade to the credits, and that's the movie. There is a mid-credit scene though, which I'm going to go into now. So
which is like a
we cut to the bathroom. Light comes on. The other light comes on. You've seen it in every Saw movie.
It's the only Saw feel about the whole film was the end credit scene.
I'm like, we're still in this fucking bathroom. But I was trying to think, I was like, okay, so at this point, Amanda has killed Adam, I guess.
Yeah.
Where she asphyxiates Adam.
Technically. So he's probably outside.
So he's dead. And the guy who originally tips Jigsaw off to go in to have this treatment, he was also at the cancer support meeting, and he had like claims to have stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he shows him like this big scar that he had from this treatment and says the treatment's worked and I'm all clear basically. That turns out that was all bullshit, and I guess he was in with the group to get people to go to the... How did all these people meet? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Because so this guy stays on the mainland. I say mainland like Mexico's away, but basically wherever Jigsaw was. I can't remember where they're based in the rest of the Saw films, but they're not in Mexico. I can fucking tell you that. So this one guy happens to go to this one cancer support group in this one area of the US to tip people off to go to Mexico.
They're just going to pick the richest one, aren't they?
I mean, I guess, but why wouldn't he tell everyone about... Here's the thing, he never mentioned about this thing to like the cancer support group.
It's very Breaking Bad vibes, isn't it? Where Jesse goes to the drug support group to sell drugs.
Yeah. But here's the thing, like, they clearly want to get as many cancer patients to this place, right, to get as much money as possible from people. But he never mentions it at the group. He happens to just bump into Jigsaw at like a breakfast van place. He's like buying a muffin or something. And then Jigsaw beckons him over and he says like, hey, like, you remember me?
But he does know the muffin man. Doesn't live on Drury Lane.
Who lives on Drury Lane. Yeah, so here's the thing, like, you think if they were trying to drum up business, they would be going to every cancer support group and being like, hey, guys, like, I had this treatment, like, this is life-changing. But he just happens to bump into Jigsaw, and then he doesn't even want to tell him his story. Like, Jigsaw's like, oh, please tell me your story. And he goes, oh, it's kind of a long story. Like, you don't want to,
if he did, it'd be like the end.
But it's like, why wouldn't he go, yeah, I'll tell you my story. Yeah, by the way... call everyone at this cancer support group and like I will tell this story to all of them so that all of them will go and get this treatment. But he doesn't, and it's really weird. Anyway, the mid-credit scene, we're in the bathroom, and this guy who had stage 4 pancreatic cancer was also lying, and he's kind of like strung up in the bathroom, and we get Big Daddy Hoffman returns.
Yeah.
And it's great. Costas Mandylor. Because there was a line in the trailer. We heard Hoffman's voice on the phone earlier, and I thought, oh, that was going to be it. That's all we're going to get from Hoffman. I was like, wait a minute. There was a line in the trailer where he says, like, of all the people to double cross, you picked John Kramer. And I was like, that sounds like Hoffman's voice. But that wasn't in the film. But it is in the mid-credits scene. I was like, oh, okay, that's where they've taken it from. And yeah, Hoffman's just there with Jigsaw stringing this guy up. And then he's got this machine on his...
mechanical Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, it's like gonna tunnel into his gut, I guess. But this trap's activated, and there's no like rules. There's no explanation of if you want to escape this, you need to do this. This is just a straight up execution trap. And it's meant to be like a cool ending sting, like, oh, we're in the bathroom again, and we got our own back, and there's Hoffman. But I'm like, what was this trap? Was it just was it just Hoffman? Yeah, that's it. That's the movie. That's Saw X. That's Saw 10, everybody. Here's the thing. I could dismantle every single Saw film in the entire franchise like I just have. But I still enjoyed it. I still had a good time with it. I don't know what it is with the Saw films. Is it pure nostalgia? Probably. Does it convolute the story? Brinsley says the timeline is so convoluted. It's all because they decided to kill off Jigsaw way too soon. If they knew they would be making 10 of these, I'm sure they would have planned it better. Yeah, didn't recently one of the producers... or one of the writers, I think it was the producers though, mentioned about, yeah, we fucked up. We shouldn't have killed him in the third one. It's like, well, he was on a ticking clock anyway, wasn't he? Dude had like really aggressive cancer.
I'm surprised he lasted through Saw 2.
Yeah. So
the beating he took as well.
Oh god, yeah.
That's enough to kill a healthy man.
Saw 10 then, would you recommend... Okay, would you recommend it to someone who's never seen a Saw film before, and this could introduce them to the franchise? And would you recommend it to someone who's already a Saw fan?
You wouldn't want them to watch it as their first Saw film, though, would you? Because it would.
Well, no,
it would totally ruin Hoffman, wouldn't it?
Well, it ruined everything. Yeah, it would ruin the ending to Saw 2. It would ruin the ending to Saw 1 and Saw 4. Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of lines in this, isn't it? Like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, which was getting like dramatic irony kind of stuff where she goes, "So, John, what do you do for a living?" And he goes like, "I have hobbies." And she goes, "Oh, I bet you you renovate classic cars, right?" And he goes, "Oh, not exactly.
I'm a life coach."
I'm a life coach. I help people appreciate their life or something. It's like, that's fun. Yeah, well, apparently they said that the post-credit scene was going to set up for more Saw films, and I don't even think it does. That final shot of Amanda, Jigsaw, and small Mexican child boy, I think that's meant to be like their swan song, like that's the end, and then fading in Saw X. Like I feel like this is meant to be like, you know, the one that Tobin Bell
we just needed
goes out on a high on. But yeah, that's Saw 10. So I was let down by the twist. He's put, okay, favourite traps and where would you rank it in the series? So we did a little bit of a ranking, but I mean, Brinsley's only just got here, so I guess we can do another one. Jigsaw is a motivational speaker. Oh, there was a really funny bit earlier in the film as well where he's set a tape up for the drug addict lady to listen to, and she starts playing it. It's like, "Hello, I want to play a game. You're gonna have to," and she like turns it off and she throws the tape away. She's like, no, not doing it. And he gets the microphone. He's like, "Listen here, bitch. I made that tape and you're gonna fucking listen to what I say." And he just basically probably recites everything that was already on the tape. He was so proud of that tape, he had to just like say it. Okay, favourite traps. Oh, a lot of them were so dumb. They were all so dumb in this one.
None of them really stand out, do they?
The leg cutting one was quite brutal, but I think if it was just you've got to cut your leg off and you'll survive this trap, if they didn't do the whole, like, you got to suck out some of your marrow, like, that was dumb.
I mean, the most believable, I'd say, with the best one is probably where he has to cut the bombs out of his arms.
Yeah, that was an alright one.
I mean, the finger breaking one is just a bit shit. Like, just put it all the way, straight away.
click. Yeah, all fingers gone.
Just take 5 broken fingers in one hit.
It was just one hand, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's only one hand.
Okay, here's a question to everyone. I mean, it's a fucking no-brainer. Would you rather break 5 of your fingers, which would probably be easily repairable in a hospital and you'd get back to, regular motion, or have your eyes sucked out of your skull? Yeah, you pick one. It's a no-brainer. So, just for the look of it, I probably would go for the eye trap, because I think it is quite a striking look, like just the tubes on the eyes. I just wish they'd have done more with it. And as we said, like, I don't even know if it happened or not. I don't even know if it was a dream sequence trap.
How did he see the switch?
What if he shot you in the face? Oh, these are all good questions. So I'd probably say best trap is the eye vacuum trap, because it was quite bare bones, wasn't it? It's like, okay, he's just got some tubes, stuck them on his eyes, and he's hooked it up to literally like a household vacuum cleaner. Put it on blow, and he's like, and that's it. It felt low tech enough for Jigsaw at that point in his life, which I really appreciated. But then you get to the rest of the movie, and it's like the most crazy, elaborate things.
Yeah, my favourite's going to be the cutting the bombs out of his arms. That was quite brutal and most believable.
Yeah. The others are just, well, I mean, we've already poked holes in all of them, haven't we, basically?
Would you even die if your eyes get sucked out? I mean, you'd be blind.
I mean,
Depends how powerful it sucks.
How powerful it sucks. Yeah, would it keep sucking even when your eyes are already sucked out of your face?
Just full on Harry. Like,
when she keeps sucking. Now, how would we rank it in the series? Now we've talked about it more. Okay, so let's think about this. You haven't seen it, so I guess you can't put this in your ranking, but I would have Spiral at the bottom.
I'll trust your judgment, because we've pretty much picked the same.
Just because it feels so disconnected from... And like Jigsaw isn't in it, and the traps are also ridiculous. Plus in Chris that.
Rock.
And Chris Rock, and the traps are just so predictable. Not traps. The twist is so predictable in it. So I'd have Spiral at the bottom. Then I'd have Jigsaw, just because it's really it sets up another apprentice we didn't hear about that apprentice in this one. I thought maybe we'd get something that either sets up for a Saw sequel after Saw 7. So like I thought the mid-credit scene might snap back to present day, and we might cut to the bathroom and like Hoffman's not in his shackles or something. And you're like, holy shit, he's escaped the bathroom. Like, we're going to get a Dr. Gordon and Hoffman movie next, which I'm still hoping we will. But we don't get that. So I'll probably just have Jigsaw, because it convolutes the story. It introduces another fucking apprentice, and
then it's Saw 7.
Yeah, then I'd have Saw 7. Yeah, just awful film. Hate it. And in my head canon, Saw ended at Saw 6. That was the final shot. That was the final moment of the movie. Then Saw 5. Because I like the flashback stuff, and I like the character building stuff with Hoffman in that movie, but I just don't like the trap side of things, and that's a big portion of that film.
Then is it Saw 4?
Still have Saw 4.
Then Saw X.
See, I don't know now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd still put it there. Between Saw 4 and Saw 3.
Is this better than 4, though? Is this better than 4?
It's an equal to.
This is a better made film, I'd say, than 4, just visually and everything. Yeah, okay, I'd put this above Saw 4. Then, I don't know, but yeah, I'd probably put it above 4. Then 2.
Then 3.
Is 3 better than 2? No. It's got some good character stuff with Amanda and Jigsaw. But yeah, the Jeff and... Okay, 3, then 2... Then 6, then 1. Maybe? I think.
That's what we said earlier.
We'll lock that in. Shall we lock that in right now? So, it's not the worst Saw film. That's our glowing recommendation. But they're just good fun, aren't they? I mean, fuck's sake, we're up to 10. Saw 10. What other horror? Jason X was the one where Jason Voorhees went to fucking space.
I like Jason X.
So do I. It's great.
It's a great film. It's one of the best ones.
We had Fast 10 earlier this year.
Still not seen 9 or 10 yet.
But I mean, in Fast 10 wasn't the one where they went to space. They did that one even earlier. That was Fast 9. They went to space.
What did they fucking meet him in Interstellar in Fast 10?
Well, apparently the two-parter ending is now becoming a three-parter ending, so it's entirely possible we could have interdimensional travel.
Do you know why? One word. Family.
I think they're going to hit the multiverse, and I think we're going to have family from every multiverse.
Walking back.
It will. Yep. Hey, they brought
but then
it back.
he crashes and dies.
Kamikazes at the very end. I think we're going to get like the portal scene from the end of Avengers Endgame, and we're going to get all these every character we've ever seen is going to come back out. Brinsley says, fun fact, Jason X is the only one I've seen in the series.
That's all you need to see, really.
No, real talk. For the longest time, I was exactly the same, and I only saw the original Friday the 13th maybe 2 years ago at the cinema at my local Odeon, and those are the only two that I've seen. So the original and Jason X, and the fight scene in Freddy vs Jason as well.
Freddy vs Jason.
I've seen the fight scenes. But yeah, no, I'm with you there, Brinsley. That's all I've seen. Red Letter Media, though, are doing reviews on all of the Friday the 13th films, so that was a fun watch yesterday. So maybe I'll have to get round to them at some point. I was mentioning this on my Saw video. Like, I just want to pick a horror franchise and just watch, for better or worse, every single film from that franchise.
What did Nightmare on Elm Street get? Was that 7?
Yes, and then there was technically Freddy vs Jason if you count that, so I guess that's like an 8 maybe, and then there was
0.5.
Then there was the remake, but if you're talking about the main series, yeah, I think it went to it was New Nightmare, wasn't it? I can't remember if that was 6 or 7.
Is that Wes Craven?
I think it was 7. Yeah. Well, there's 7 Scream films as well, and I've only ever seen the first 3. So that's a possible franchise. I mean, literally any horror franchise has a ridiculous amount of sequels. So I could pick one, but this actually makes me kind of upset now that we're done talking about Saw. It was a great video the other day where I was waxing philosophical and reminiscing about all 9 Saw films, and now we've done Saw 10, so that's it, everyone. I would say go and see it. We went to a sold-out screening tonight, and it was great to be able to sit in the cinema for a Saw film. Love it. Hearing that Charlie Clausen music, seeing Tobin back, Shawnee Smith, Costas Mandalore, the whole motley crew.
Even if the guy next to me did just breathe really heavily all throughout the film.
Yeah, you're not talking about me here, are you? You're talking about the other person sat next to you. Yeah.
Jesus. It's like that high-pitched whistle breathing.
Oh, no. Shuffer and Shuffercash. Is he like Herbert from Family Guy? Got a whole fridge full of popsicles. Okay, the final question. Could you go for some more Saw films after this, or do you want them to just stop at 10?
It depends. I think I would totally like a film where Jigsaw's dead, and it is literally just a face-off between Gordon and...
Yeah, so here's the thing. We care about the story to Saw, and the filmmakers really don't. They just want more traps. And I'm like, no, give me that sweet lore. Show me why Gordon became an apprentice. What happened to his wife and daughter? Is he still married to his wife? What happened with all of that shit?
I wish it started with a trap, like the start of like Saw 2 and...
Well, this film?
Yeah, I wish it just started with a trap.
I was going to say, yeah, that felt like a break from tradition.
Even if it started with the eye one, and then it goes into the good choice, and then he goes for his scan.
Yeah.
That would have been...
I think all of them have opened with a trap, haven't they?
Yeah, apart from this.
I can't really remember Jigsaw and Spiral. No, Spiral did. It was the tongue trap on the subway. I don't know if it like
I've not
started...
seen the film, but that sounds terrible.
Yeah. The traps aren't great in that film. I could go for another Saw film. Now, I think what they've said they want to do is they've talked about a potential like Amanda spin-off. And I'm like, I think the only way you could...
Not how she looks now.
Well, yeah, they don't digitally de-age them at all in this, which is unfortunate because they really should have done. But if the rumors are true and they're gonna do an Amanda spin-off, I think the only time that you can set it that might be interesting is between 2 and 3
yeah.
to see how she snaps and how she goes from that to that. But after seeing this, we've already discussed this, but she kind of is acting like her Saw 3 counterpart in this film when she should be acting like her Saw 2 counterpart. So I don't know. Could Tobin Bell come? Like, they could do another one. But here's the thing: why wasn't small Mexican child boy an apprentice?
Yeah.
I call it though, kind of. I know that wasn't the twist, but I said, oh, what if... I was just taking the piss. I was trying to predict the ending.
Because he's going to have a different name. It'd be Jigsaw.
Jigsaw. I like that. Yeah, I was like, oh no, the small Mexican child boy is going to be a secret Jigsaw apprentice who's his eyes and ears in Mexico. Maybe we could get Lindsay Perez. Maybe she's...
Maybe, here's another theory, maybe he's one of the people behind Gordon in Saw 7.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. This is getting juicy. Yeah, no, this could be good. Let's make it all convoluted. Let's make it way more convoluted. I'm down. Brinsley says, random question I forgot to ask before. Will you be getting the Lord of the Rings Moria game? What device is it on? I don't think it's for console, is it? And either way, I've only got a PS4, so yeah, probably not. But maybe I could do like I could like watch it, do like I could just watch a let's play of it and then do a review on it. Maybe I know it's not the same as actually playing it, but at least I'd be covering the story or whatnot. I've seen trailers and stuff for it. It looks fine, I guess. Can't be as bad as Gollum though, right? Fucking hell. We've already had it bad with Lord of the Rings games this year. Gollum was terrible. But yeah, I could go for more Saw films, but I think if they were to do another one, I want Costas Mandylor return. What you said, Cary Elwes coming back as Dr. Gordon. I want flashbacks. You could bring Tobin Bell into it again, but Christ Almighty, he'd be a lot older. Bring flashbacks into it. Explain everything with Gordon. Bring the actress back who played his wife. His daughter's going to be grown up now. Bring her into it. Have him like doing like home life stuff. They need to explain more why Gordon sided with Jigsaw rather than just being pure fan service. And then Hoffman is on a rampage. That's a good film. I don't know how you bring the traps into it.
Didn't Gordon give Jigsaw like Johnny's diagnosis?
Yeah.
So how come he has a different doctor giving him a diagnosis in this film?
Wait. Hang on. Okay, so in Saw 3, I think Jigsaw says something about based on your professional opinion, how long do you think, what do my records say? And she says like, oh, not good. And he goes, I remember I was sat in front of someone who also gave me the same cold clinical response or something. I don't know if that was Gordon, but you do see him walking into the office, don't you?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he just like consulted with Dr. Gordon at some point, but that wasn't the one who gave him the diagnosis in the first place. I don't know.
Because when he walks out, he looks distressed, doesn't he? And when he walks out of Gordon's office.
Yeah, and then they do that close-up shot, don't they? Of the doctor.
That.
Yeah, I don't think they go back and watch the previous movies. We're gonna have to edit these movies to try and make them make sense.
We'll put them in chronological order.
I'm just gonna erase Spiral. I'm gonna erase Jigsaw, and I'm gonna cut out a lot of Saw 7. I'm gonna have Saw 6 be the last movie, but then it just goes on a little bit, and you end with the Dr. Gordon shit.
Yeah, agreed.
That's how I'd do it. Okay, Brinsley says, the only way I can justify Hoffman siding with Jigsaw is a massive amounts of blood loss, shock, and possibly a brain injury. Oh no, Hoffman joining him. Hoffman joined him because it... Oh yeah, I was going to say, yeah, Hoffman joins him because he was blackmailed. But yeah, Gordon, massive amounts of blood loss and shock and possibly a brain injury. Yeah, because here's the thing, like, he'd leave the crime scene and it'd be like, well, how did you leave completely healed? How do you have a prosthetic leg? does Gordon go back for Adam? Well, I guess he doesn't, does he? I guess he's just a bit of a dick and he doesn't send help again for Adam because Amanda goes in and finishes the job. Yeah, I don't like the Gordon stuff at all. It's just done for fan service. Anyway, it is getting late, and I need to be up really, really early for work tomorrow, so we're going to round off tonight, but appreciate it to all the viewers who have tuned in tonight, whether you've been vocal or whether you haven't been. Brinsley, you are the man. Thanks for commenting. It's always nice actually being able to talk to people and not just to a blinking light of a camera. And thank you for taking time out of your evening to come and talk Saw. But it's over now. We've talked about all 10 Saw films, and now I'm very sad that we no longer have any more Saw movies to look forward to just yet. But who knows, if this is successful, they might start cranking them out every single year again, and if that's the case, I'm down. Give me more Saw movies.
Bring it on, bitch.
Yeah. That's like Freddy could bring it on, bitch. So yeah,
Jason, Michael, bring it back, bitch.
Anyway, I'll be back soon at some point reviewing some kind of movie. Next Monday I'm watching Rocky Horror Picture Show at my Nickelodeon. This is for the second annual time because it was on last year and it was great, and I'm going to see it again this year. But I'll be back with some kind of review. Whenever the next big film's out, I'll be here talking about it. And before then, Ahsoka next week, season finale. I'll be with JX Editor talking about that. So yeah, have a very good night, everyone, and I'll catch you very soon on the next